Good morning, Year 6. Today we will continue together talking about more types of forces, okay? Today we will talk about the friction force, okay? Where the friction force is a type of the contact force. For example, when you slide down on a slide, you have two forces acting on you. Movement force that enable to pushing and sliding you down, and also we have friction force arises when your body touch the slide, okay? And this is type of force against motion. So the friction force defined as a type of force, okay? A type of the contact force arises when two bodies in contact touching each other, and it always act in the opposite direction of the motion, okay? So friction force uses in our daily life. Friction force is responsible for slow down the motion of the object, okay, and control the motion of the object, okay. And also we have many factors that affect the value of the friction force, okay, by decreasing the friction or increasing the friction, okay. We have three factors that affect the value of the friction force. Factor number one, type of material surface, okay, that the body move on it, rough or smooth. Rough materials has high friction force, while smooth materials have low friction force, okay? So when you walk on a ground filled with water, you can slide down, okay? Due to the water make the surface more smooth material, okay? And also when the material becomes smooth, it will be having low friction force, so we can slide down, okay? We can control yourself. Factor number two, the mass of the moving object, okay? By increasing the mass of the moving object, the friction force increase, and by decreasing the mass of the moving object, the friction force will decrease, okay? So there is direct relation between mass of the moving object and the friction force, okay? Speed of the moving object, also there is a direct relation between the speed of the moving object and the friction force, okay? So the question now, when you try to pushing a coin across a smooth wooden table and pushing it across a velvet carpet, okay, you observe that the coin in a smooth wooden surface has less friction, so it moves a longer distance. But the coin on the rough velvet surface has more friction, so it moves a shorter distance than a stop, okay? Also, the friction force has many advantages and disadvantages in our daily life, okay? From the advantages or the useful of friction force, it allows us to hold the object firmly, and it enables us to walk and run without sliding down. It prevents us slipping down during walking and running, okay? So, explain why we place rubber mats on the bathroom floor to increase friction force between our feet and the ground, so they prevent us from slipping down, okay? And from the disadvantage of friction force, okay? Number one, it causes car tires to wear out, okay? Looking to the car tire in front of you, you notice that car, okay, containing many grooves, okay? And the cars with the worn tires are more likely to slip on the roads, which is very dangerous, okay? And these grooves disappear after time due to the friction between car tire and the road, okay? Grooves on the car tires become smoother and disappear over time due to the friction force, okay? So this is a disadvantage from friction force. Also, friction makes it difficult for us to moving things. So, to reduce the friction, wheels are attached to the object to help them move more. Number three, friction causes damage in the internal parts of the machine because it increases heat energy between the moving part inside the machine. And to solve this problem and to protect the machine from damage, we use oil. Okay, we use oil to form a thin smooth layer over internal moving part of the machine, okay? This is oil or a smooth surface of the oil, reduce the friction, decrease the friction, so it protects the machine from damage, okay? From the types of friction force, we have two types also, air resistance and water resistance. Air resistance, a type of friction force that arises when objects move in air, and also it resists the object's motion, okay? And air resistance responsible for slow down the object motion in air, okay? Where when the surface area of the moving object in air increase, the air resistance will increase. Okay, so we note that birds stretch their wings when they land on the ground. The parachutist opens his parachute during landing on the ground. Okay, why? To increase his surface area. To increase his surface area, so it will increase air resistance, so the parachutist can land safely on the ground. Okay, also by noticing the shape of the birds and the shape of the train, okay, an airplane that move in air, we notice that airplanes and the birds have a streamline shape, okay? The streamline shape to decrease the air resistance, so the airplane can save more fuel, don't consume more fuel during flight, okay? Water resistance, also defined as a type of friction force, arises when objects move in water and it acts against motion, against the opposite direction of motion, okay? And by noticing the shape of fish, the shape of ships and boats, okay, all of them have a streamlined shapes. Also, the diver, swimmer, okay, take a streamlined shape during swimming in the water, okay, to overcome the water resistance. Okay, thank you, year 6, for your good listening, and goodbye.